My name is Clint, and this is Yin Yoga for Sola. You can always tell the spouse. Okay, so right at the start, I don't have anything extra to say today. So why don't we all stand up for the balance? No, now you get it for the whole time that you paid for. Okay, so come into Tadasana. Get your feet hip width apart. That's 2 fist widths to fit in between the arches of your feet. Get your second toe, if it's even remotely straight, roughly pointed straight ahead. But the most important thing is to have your femurs and your hip sockets in a comfortable position. From here, stand up tall, stretch the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, and I forgot, grab your block. Okay, this will help get your feet hip width apart. Take your block, the medium, get it this orientation. And then put it in between your legs, right up to your sit bones. From there, okay, now bring your feet together and then crown of your head up towards the ceiling. Tuck your chin a little bit. Isometrically drag your feet towards each other. That may be impossible with the block in there. But then take your upper inner thighs and rotate them towards the back like you're trying to shoot the block out behind you. Then take your hips, tuck your tailbone under, tilting your pelvis, and that will help create that little reverse arch in your lower lumbar spine. From here, again, lift your chest high, lift your shoulders up towards your ears, rotate them back, and then just let your shoulder blades sink down your spine, downward back towards your hips. Let your palms come to whatever position your arms want them to be. Again, focus on the top of the crown of your head, tuck your chin in a little bit. And breathe in and out through your nose. Throughout today's practice, the only breath you're going to need is your normal breath in and out through your nose. Open your eyes. You can remove your block. Just drop it on the floor someplace close. And in your body, every muscle has an opponent, a muscle that works in reverse. For your arms, you have your biceps, which flex your arm, and you have your triceps, which extend it. In your legs, you have your quads, which extend it, and your hamstrings, which bring it back. Your glutes are what take your legs behind you. Your hip flexors are those that lift your feet in front. So I'm going to try an experiment. And what I'd like you to do is take one hand and put it on your lumbar spine. Now your lumbar spine goes from your bottom, just below the bottom rib, down to the top of your sacrum. So have a hand roughly in here. Don't have your hand so low that you can feel the tops of your glutes, but a little bit higher. So back to Tadasana with the exception of the arm behind. You can put both behind, it doesn't matter. And then weight into your left foot and inhale, lift that right knee up. Do you feel anything happening to your spine? Probably not. And then place it back down. This time, bring your weight into your left foot. Lift your right foot just a ½ inch and then draw it back. Do you feel anything happening with your spine? That's not a rhetorical question.
Yes.
Okay, your back is arching. And why is that? Not because your glute is pulling on it, but it's your hip flexor. Those muscles that lift your legs. And your psoas in particular ties into the top of your femur. And then it ties into all those lumbar vertebrae, all the way up to that last thoracic spine, the last thoracic vertebrae. So it covers 7 vertebrae. And as you bring that back, you are stretching your psoas, and that's causing your back to arch a little bit. Okay, so back to Tadasana for real. This time, lift your toes, spread them wide, place them back down. Bring the weight into your right foot. Inhale the left knee up. And then push that heel away. Flex your toes, bring your toes back towards your head. The reason why we're doing this, as I've said fairly often, is you're creating more connections between the neurons in your brain, creating more neuroplasticity. Point your toes, and then flex. Point, and flex, and bring your knee up, and then down. Back to Tadasana. Weight into your left foot. Lift your right knee up. Stay here for a few breaths. Let your body calm down. Maybe you can feel your knee or your thigh or your glutes kicking in and out, in and out, in and out, like it doesn't know what it's doing. That's your fascia exerting control to keep you upright. Then straighten out your leg, push your heel away, and your toes towards your face. Your arms are here to keep you upright. That's the only function they have during this part of the balance. And point your toe. Wonder if any of you can point one toe at a time. Then flex. Point. Flex. And then step that down. Step that out. Okay, so we're going to work a little bit with the glutes. So come back to Tadasana. Bring the weight into your left foot. Lift your right foot up a little bit. And then bring that right leg back. And your chest will come forward. Find a place on the floor, maybe 10 feet in front of you, that you can focus on. Try to keep your hips level. Now your arms can be out like an airplane if that helps. You can go over next to a wall. if that helps. Two more breaths. And release back down. Back to Tadasana. Lift your toes, place them down. Weight into your right foot. Lift the left. And bring that knee or the heel back. The straight leg. Then point your toe. And then flex your foot. And making these changes in your muscles, it's interrupting your thought process and the fascia, and it makes it more challenging, which is the whole intent here. Your next inhales all the way up, and then step that out. Okay. Grab a block. Now, if we have size 12 shoes, you're probably in pretty good shape because you can just grip your block. Bring your left foot on top of your block, spread your toes wide, then try to grip it. And then come up onto your right toes until you're almost perfectly vertical. And then on an inhale, lift your right knee up. And as that knee is up, point and flex that right foot. This part is much easier if you're near a wall. But it's all good because just by trying this, if you fall out, you're still getting the main benefit of the pose. And then release, step down. Step that out. If you want a nice flat block, just flip it over. This almost feels like my Hoka shoes. If anyone has had Hoka sneakers, this is what they feel like when you wear them. Take your right foot on top. They're almost that big. Come up onto your left toes. And then on an inhale, lift that left knee up. And flex your foot. Reach your toe. Flex your foot. And point. Few more breaths. And release. Step it down, step it up. Okay, so that was pretty short. Okay, we're going to go down onto the mat. So come on down. And the first pose is going to be butterfly. We're going to do butterfly for the meditation. And you can sit on a block if you wish. You can sit on a rolled up towel or on your mat, doesn't really matter. But one thing I'd like to try to do is if you're not sitting on a block, grab the other two blocks and put them outside of your legs, and then bring them in so that they just barely touch the one extra. So that they barely touch the hairs on your legs. Here's a reason for that. As you begin to sink into this pose, your groins are going to soften and your knees are going to fall. And you're going to want to continually be aware of your legs coming into contact with the blocks so that you can make minor adjustments. Just move them out a little bit and you feel your knees floating down towards the floor. So from here, sit up straight, crown of your head high, and walk your hands forward. Now this is not hatha, so don't grab onto your feet. You can walk your hands beyond your feet. Initially, keeping your spine long, and feel your blocks seemingly rising up as your legs go down. And when you get to a good point for you, where your body asks you to pause, pause. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling and bend your elbows. Allow your spine to round. Allow your head to fall forward. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose and exhale it out through your nose. Take another cleansing breath in through your nose, out through your nose. Let your breath come to its own natural rhythm, in and out through your nose. With your breath going in and out of your nose, you're keeping a higher pressure of your air inside your lungs. It's almost 25% higher pressure just by all the passages in your nasal cavities. That allows you to exchange 20% more oxygen with every breath. So it's more efficient than breathing through your mouth. On your next breath in, try to breathe down to the base of your spine. And as the rest of your lungs fill up, feel your spine lengthening. And then as you exhale, just allow your body to come forward any bit more. Rounding your spine. And the target of this pose is both your groins and your spine. So if you're feeling it more in your groins today, that's okay. If you're feeling it more in your spine, notice if your knees have fallen any bit. Maybe even move that block out just enough so that you can sense that it's there, but you can't quite feel it. And as your body softens, you'll gain contact. The purpose of Yin Yoga is not to enhance your muscles. It's to help your fascia grow. And your fascia is that material that covers every muscle and every fiber of your muscles. And also it surrounds and protects each and every one of your organs. Your fascia is a non-woven net of collagen, and as you age, it shrinks more than any other body part, creating more restrictions on your muscles with every year. And those restrictions may mean that your mobility has been compromised. And through the practice of yoga, as you remain still in a pose, and your muscles soften, that's when the tension from your body position transfers into your fascia, stimulating growth by attracting the stem cells that you're producing in your body every day. Notice how much contact you have with your blocks now. Deepen your breath. And on your next inhale, walk your hands back. Lift up your chest. Remove the blocks and set them aside. From here, use both hands to help your knees come up. Bring your footprints on the mat. They can be wide, they can be narrow. Bring your hands behind your hips. Notice how your hips feel as you begin to windshield wiper slowly. And see if one side is different from the other. This counter pose works your abductors and adductors and your hip flexors. And the next time you come to center pause, from here, sit up straight. I'm going to do whatever we're going to do. Okay, no, we're not going to sit up straight. Come on, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Come down onto your back. Stretch your heels away. Stretch your palms away. Push your fingers as far away from your toes as you can get. And then walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze and rock from left to right. And the next time you come to center pause, bring your arms out into T. And then on an exhale, bring your knees off to the left into spinal twist. And you have options. The first is to do an IT band stretch. So to do that, you can straighten out that top leg, your right leg, towards the sidewall. You can always bring a hand on top of that knee in case that knee wants to stay up in the air. You want to attempt to lower that right shoulder down, although if it's up, that's okay. If you'd like to bring your knee back to meet the other, that's okay. This is your practice. And what your goal is to target those muscles that are tight. Stretch those muscles and then soften. Now your IT band runs all the way from your tibia, which is the big bone below your knee, all the way up to the right side of your pelvis. When it gets to your pelvis, it's really hard to tell apart from your glutes and your hamstrings, but you can certainly feel it if your hand is on that right knee. Down there, it's about an inch or a little bit wider. Soften your lower belly. Soften your glutes. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, bring your knees back to center. Give yourself a squeeze. Push your hips away so that as you rock from your hip and shoulder on one side to the other, you're massaging the entire length of your spine. Then the next pose starts in a seated pose, so maybe the easiest way to get there is to cross your ankles and rock forwards and backwards. And if you'd rather come over onto your right side, you can always use your left hand to push the floor away and rise up. We're going to do half dragonfly. And so that's a straddle, so you can start by getting your legs out wide. I'm going to turn halfway so that my right foot stays on the mat, because I want a little bit of friction here. And then your left knee, and bring the sole of your left foot into your right thigh. Now, you can always put a block underneath that right knee. Have one available if that turns out to be what you want to do. From here, take your left hand behind your back so that it's roughly in line with your right leg and twist to the left. Inhale. Bring your right arm out on top of that right leg. And then on an exhale, begin to bend to the right. Now, this may be a real challenge because you have tight hamstrings. We'll use a block. Tuck a block in there. You may want to get your hand underneath your ankle. Try not to make this into a twist by looking at your foot. You want to drop that right shoulder towards that right foot. Now the left hand can prop you up as a kickstand, or it can come behind your back. The trick with Yin is finding a way to relax those muscles that are being stretched. Many times, what it takes is to just back up. If you're stretched out too much, your muscles are firing and you just can't soften anything. So back up. Just raise up enough and find a place that's tolerable. If you go through a whole pose without being able to relax, well, at least you stretch the muscles. But that's not the target of the pose. You'll still be as stiff tomorrow as you are today. It's only when you get to soften that you stimulate your fascia. It begins to grow over time. Begin to deepen your breath. Your next inhale, rise all the way up. Turn back to center. Bring your footprints onto the mat again with your hands behind your hips. Now, if you've never tried your feet close together or wide apart, do something different. See what it feels like. And then once you wiper your knees and notice how each side feels. Is there a difference? You may not understand why there's a difference yet, but over time you'll learn your body enough to be able to be a good predictor of what your body needs. And the next time you come to center, pause, sit upright, and I've been going back and forth a lot on this next pose. I'm going to teach this as double swan, but if you want to do a single swan, you certainly may. But a double swan, what you want to do, it will be a right double swan on the right. So start by bringing your left ankle roughly parallel to the front of your mat. And then bring your right ankle parallel to it, and maybe your ankles can stack vertically, maybe not. If you're very flexible, like I've gotten to be over doing this crazy pose for about 11 years, I can stack my foot over my heel. But if you can't get there, that's fine. Then that left knee, bring it out farther to the left and put a block under it. So put a block underneath your left knee, and then bring that right foot up on top of the side of your foot, on top of your calf, if that works. You can always move that block out and get it a little bit lower. But double swan works on both of your hip flexors. I'm sorry, your glutes, both your right and your left. And if this doesn't work for you, you can always straighten out that front leg. From here, you lift your chest high. And then slowly begin to walk your hands forward. You might not get very far, but that's okay. Come forward until your body asks you to pause, and just pause there. Now you can use stacked blocks and rest your head if that makes sense for you. But just let gravity draw you down towards earth. See if you can get your glutes and your hip sockets to release. And as you've heard me say so many times, my favorite yoga instructor saw a study that clinically proves that if your eyes are closed, nobody can see you. So you can reach behind and feel your glutes. Just run your hands over. And that will give your glutes the release that they need to relax. Your glutes are main muscles that will transport you to safety. So those are about the last muscles in your body that are going to release. And merely by running your hand across, your muscles will respond. Try breathing the same way that you did when you were in butterfly. On an inhale, breathe all the way down to the base of your spine. And as you inhale more and more, and the air comes into your lungs and all the way to your upper lungs, lengthen your spine. And then on the exhale, just release the gravity. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, begin to rise up. Set any blocks or toes that you have employed aside. And your hands, well, first use your hands to help your feet back down. Straighten out your legs. Bring your hands behind your hips. Push your heels away. Point and flex your toes. And then wave your feet. And that will rotate your femurs in your hip socket. Bringing some more synovial fluid. More comfort to your hip sockets. Next time you come to center, pause. From here, sit up. Come over onto your right hip and swing your feet around behind you and come into table. In table, your knees are directly below your hips. Your wrist creases are directly below your shoulders. Look between your legs. If you can see your feet, move them out. And then on an inhale, your belly inflates and drops, chest comes forward, sit bones lift and separate. And then exhale, round your spine, tuck your tailbone under, and last, your chin comes towards the chest. Inhale to cow, exhale to cat. The next time you come to center, pause. Take your left arm out to the side, and then raise it up towards the ceiling. And we're going to thread the needle. So on the exhale, bring that left hand behind the right wrist, way off to the right, and come down on your shoulder and on your left cheek. Okay, a nice twist here. You can feel this in your shoulder as it opens with this big inward rotation. Your obliques are getting stretched. And if you'd like to modify this, give a little more relief to that right leg, you can come up onto your toes, straightening that right leg towards the back of your mat with your foot flexed. And another option is you can walk that right hand forward on crab fingers, opening up your right armpit. Breathe into wherever you feel that sensation. There are a lot of places to feel here. On your next exhale, bring that right hand back next to your face. Carefully lower that right knee down. Push the floor away, lifting your chest up. Extract your left arm out and up. And then come back to table and do a couple more cat cows. The next time you come to center, pause. From here, take that right arm out to the side and up. And then thread that needle, left arm, right arm behind the left wrist, way off to the right, and down onto the right shoulder. Your palm is facing up towards the ceiling. You have the same options that you have on the other side. You come up onto the left toes by straightening that left leg out, way towards the back of the mat. Push that heel away, stretching your hamstrings. And then if you'd like to add that left shoulder, grab walk your fingers all the way to the far wall. When you get there, inhale and just release. Breathe into your armpit. Breathe into your rib cage. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next exhale, bring that left hand back towards your face. Lower that left knee down. Push the floor away. Bring that right arm out and up. Gaze up. And then back to the table. A couple more cat cows. The next time you come to center, pause. From here, come over onto your favorite hip. Lower that down. Swing your feet around in front. We're back to double swan. And if you want to do a single swan, that's fine. But this time the right leg will be down, the right shin roughly parallel to the front of your mat. You don't want to go into lotus because that's actually easier to do. It doesn't have as much tension on your glutes. So if you can barely get your feet on top of one another, that's fine. And again, you can bring that leg out, right leg out. But where you want to feel this is in your glutes. So reach behind and feel in the right glute there. Should be able to feel that. Left glute, I'm sorry. So inhale your spine tall. And on an exhale, begin to walk your hands forward until your body asks you to pause. And if at any point the blocks or the towels become more of an impediment than a help, get rid of it. Or bring another one in, or change the elevation. If you have an urge to pull with your hands, that's a different class. Maybe my Ashtanga class. Breathe into wherever you feel this the most. Hopefully it's in your glutes, but it could be in your spine. Slow down your breath. And let gravity do its work. You want to feel this in your glute, even if your knees don't come down. Begin to deepen your breath. And before you begin to rise up, just notice your hips and notice where the sensations are. And slowly come up and see how attention gets transferred to another body part or an adjacent muscle. And then help your feet to come forward again. Bring your hands behind your hips. You can push your feet away, push your heels away. Rock your feet from left to right. Or do windshield wipers if that works more for you. And the next time you come to center pause, we're back to that half dragonfly. So I'm just going to leave my left leg on the mat, bring my right leg way off to the side. I would never do a dragonfly like this because it's way too wide. But once I bend that right knee, it becomes tolerable. Because for me, if I have my legs displayed the maximum, I'd never be able to fold over. So from here, sit up tall, bring your right hand behind your back, roughly in line with your left leg. Inhale your spine tall because on any kind of back movement, you want the tallest spine possible, and twist to your right so that when you put your left arm out, it will be right over the top of that left knee or left leg. Inhale, take the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, and exhale. Begin to move that hand down that leg. And again, it might not come very far, that's okay. Everybody's different. Every body is different. You may be feeling this more in your left side than your right side. If your organs start to object, just increase your breath to a diaphragmatic breath where your diaphragm pushes your organs down below your rib cage. That'll make your belly rise. When you exhale, those organs will have more space. The right hand can come behind your back if that makes more sense for you. Maybe you can feel your ribs separating on the right side, your intercostal muscles that hold those ribs together. But remember to seek softness. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, rise back up. Turn back to center. Bring both legs out towards the front of the mat. And then bring your footprints to the mat. Bring your hands behind your hips. And again, slowly windshield wiper and notice how different each side feels. The next time you come to center, pause. From here, the next pose is caterpillar. So caterpillar is a seated forward fold, Tadasana. You do hatha. I'm going to do this on a block. And you certainly may. If you do it on a block, get your sit bones right on the front edge of the block, like you're almost falling off the front, so that you start to tip that block. Almost feels like you're going to slide right on down the slope. Bring your feet roughly hip width apart, or you could use a block there if you want. Inhale your spine tall. And on an exhale, begin to walk your hands forward alongside your legs, drawing your collarbones towards the end of the mat and your crown of your head towards the far wall. Until you reach that point, again, when your body requests you to pause, just pause. Take a few breaths here. Let your body know what you're asking it to do. Listen carefully. On your next inhale, come up about halfway. Push your collarbones forward any bit more. Put your gaze back down on the mat or on your legs. Crown of your head towards the far wall, and just round your spine. Let your head bow forward. Allow your elbows to bend. It may be easier for your body to relax if your palms are up towards the ceiling. Just resting on your legs or on your feet or on the mat. Try moving the person behind you. That will tilt your pelvis forward. And then just give in to gravity, surrender. This pose targets your hamstrings and your spine. Try lowering your shoulder blades. It may require bringing your elbows back towards your hips. But you will probably find that the tension in your shoulders is reduced. The rest of your body will discover that, and they'll be able to relax a little bit easier. Use your breath to smooth out your sensations. If you'd like to try to release your feet to fall in any direction that they want, go for it. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, begin to walk your hands back towards your hips. You're on the block, carefully remove it, set it aside. Bring your knees up, and your footprints onto the mat. Windshield wiper one more time. Pay close attention. To the differences and similarities between your sides. And the next time you come to center, pause. From here, come down onto your elbows, all the way down onto your back. Make sure you have a block within reach. Push your heels towards the front of the mat. Bring your arms up towards the ceiling. Let them rotate down onto the mat behind you. And reach for the wall beyond your head. Push your palms away from your heels. Feel your backside of your body, all those muscles stretching. And then stretch your fingers from your toes and feel those muscles on your front. Stretch. And then return your arms back down by your hips. On an inhale, walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. On an inhale, tuck your tailbone under, bringing the small of your back into contact with the mat, and then raise your hips up towards the ceiling into bridge. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Now, if you want to cop a feel, you can feel your glutes pushing your legs back behind you. That's their job. And then exhale, slowly lower back down. This time, grab your block. And your block has 3 different dimensions. And you don't even have to use a block for supported bridge. But on your next inhale, tuck your tailbone under, lift up, and use the tallest dimension you'd like, that you feel good with, underneath your sacrum. The longer part of the block should go left to right. And then lower your sacrum back down. Rock a little bit from left to right. Make sure that your hips are stable. And if you're stable, you would like to walk your feet out towards the front of the mat. A little bit. Oh. If you'd like to experience a little bit more of a stretch here, first, just bring your hands to your hip crease, both hip creases. And as you do that, feel the tension right across the front of your hip crease. On each side, those are your hip flexors. Those are the muscles that lift and turn your legs. Then bring your arms up towards the ceiling and then towards the wall beyond your head if you wish. And find a place for them to rest. You don't want those arms to be up in the air, bouncing around in the wind. Because like in all other poses, if part of your body is working hard, the rest of your body won't relax. Soften your lower belly. Soften your glutes and your quads. Your calves and your ankles. And even though it feels like you could stay here forever, too much of a good thing is bad. So return your arms back next to your hips. When you're ready, walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. Then on an inhale, lift your hips up, remove the block, set it aside, bring your hips down, and draw one knee into your chest. And give yourself a squeeze. Push your hips away. Then add the other knee. And rock from left to right. And then the next time you come to center pause, from here, bring your arms out into T. And on your next exhale, lean your knees off towards the right into spinal twist. You have those options from the other side. You can straighten out that top leg towards the far wall. And you get that nice stretch. But breathe into where you feel these sensations. If that left hip refuses to soften, just reach up with your left hand. Just touch it. And that glute will do where you want it to. As you get to know your body more and more, you become a better steward of your body. And it becomes more cooperative to your desires. Begin to deepen your breath. On your next inhale, turn the knees back to center. Give yourself another squeeze. Maybe make circles on the ceiling with your knees. It can be little or big. Make sure you go the opposite direction. And the next time you come to center, pause. From here, we release one leg out to the front corner of the mat. And then release the other leg out to the other corner. Bring your arms out from your sides. It can be near your body, or it can be out in a T or over your head. Whatever is best for you this moment. Push your heels away. Push your palms away. Stretch your neck long. And then release. Rock your hips a little bit left to right. Find that perfect spot for your sacrum. Gently roll your head from left to right until it finds the perfect spot. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose. Exhale it out through your nose. Take another cleansing breath in through your nose. Out through your nose. And take rest. I'll be coming around and adjusting some of you. I will not be able to get to everyone. If you do not want me to touch you, just wave me away when you hear my footprints. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back into your space. Bring movement to your fingers and to your toes, to your wrists, and to your ankles. Gently rock your head from left to right. And when you're ready, walk your footprints up towards your sit bones. Draw your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And rock from left to right. And the next time you come over towards your right side, pause there for just a moment in fetal pose, using your right hand, right arm as a pillow. And do a body scan, just to see if there's any tension or stress still lurking in your tissues, so that you can address it later this week. And then use the strength in your left hand to push the floor away. Rise up to a seated pose. Thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me this afternoon. Thank you for taking the time and effort to maintain your health through the practice of yoga. Take your compassion and empathy and peace that you practice here on your mat and share it with everyone you meet. Namaste.
Namaste.
My name is Clint, and this has been Yin Yoga. Thank you for coming.